Shabbat Shalom. This week's Torah portion is in part monotone, with a list of names and families, and on the other hand, it's rich in content. In the parasha, we have the census and the division of the land according to the tribes. We learn about the daughters of Tzlofchad and the laws of inheritance. In the parasha, there is a turnover in the leadership, and Joshua is appointed as the leader after Moses. Most of the holidays of Israel can be found in this parasha: Yom Kippur, Shavuot, Rosh Hashanah, Passover, and more. This parasha is named after Pinchas and his jealous zeal, which stopped the plague that killed 24,000 people. Parashat Pinchas is not an easy parasha, especially Pinchas's action, which is difficult. The question that each person asks himself is, where is the right balance, the thin line between healthy, righteous, correct, jealous zeal for God, and between unacceptable, offensive, racist, fanatical, and impure, jealous zeal that can kill? In Hebrew, the word zeal is jealous. Jealousy can be simple and clear with children. Why does he have more toys than me? Why is he allowed to stay up late? When they, the children, see what others have, it doesn't matter what they have. It's never enough. Jealousy is always affected by our surroundings. We see what others have and we want it for ourselves. Here at Nativia, we help those in need. This year, we are working with 130 families to offer them weekly support with groceries. Most of these families have many children, and the main problem that the Welfare Bureau deals with is related to the next generation, to the teenagers in those families. These teenagers see what their classmates are wearing. They see their brand new smartphones. They get invited over to their big houses. And as a result, most of the teenagers who come from families in financial hardship resort to using recreational drugs or alcohol in parks in order to numb their senses and reduce the pain caused by their family's situation and the stress there. Or they turn to minor crimes and theft in order to have what their classmates have. And in these crisis families, the school dropout rate is very high. There is such a thing as positive jealousy. Jealousy that leads to competition forces people to transcend themselves, to work harder, to develop their ability, to reach heights that would not have come were it not for the competition. As the Talmudic saying goes, jealousy amongst teachers increases wisdom. We often do not do enough effort because of laziness, even though that in our minds we know we should do so. This is often the case in schooling, in volunteering, or in taking life seriously, in investing in home or in the family with the kids. When I see my friend advance, succeed, and gets things done, it makes me want to improve, to advance, and to be like him. It arises in me jealousy. And this is a positive jealousy that leads to progress and success. But jealousy is also a dangerous thing, and it exists in human beings since the beginning of human history. We read and learn that Cain cannot overcome his jealousy. But on Cain, in his offering, he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry, and his face was downcast. Cain fulfills and executes his jealousy without much thought. While they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. Later on, we read about the brothers who hate Joseph and are jealous of him, which causes them to try to murder him and finally to sell him into slavery. Another case of jealousy is when David comes back from the battle, and the women praise David more than King Saul. Saul is envious of the honor that David received, and later on he throws a spear in an attempt to harm David. The New Testament teaches us that God gives everyone exactly what he needs, For example, in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, Paul compares us to the body. And the body has many parts, each of which has a different function. Each one is a different gift, and everyone is important. Each of us is important to his surroundings and to the community. And the community is important to the body of Messiah. If we want to serve, but don't know how or in which area, then the things that we have or don't have give us a clue. For example, musical talent or artistic ability can direct us in a certain path. Intellectual abilities direct us to another path. Compassion or sensitivity can cause us to help others. The abilities and the talents that we have are the tools we need to realize our purpose, which in turn is designated to build the kingdom of heaven and to build each other up, to support each other, and to allow each other to grow and draw nearer to the Almighty. If we look at it in this way, then the things or the talents that our neighbor has are entirely irrelevant to us. There is no point in making comparisons, since they are totally unrelated to the purpose of our lives. The baker does not envy the tailor's sharp scissors. Now we come to the impossible question of religious jealousy and zeal. Being jealous for God, we have an example from Yeshua the Messiah himself, who became angry and was jealous for God's house, the temple, and turned over the tables of the money changers there, and cast out the merchants with a whip. We read that in Matthew chapter 21. The difficult question is, where do we draw the line between religious, extreme, fanatical jealousy and between pure, good, and godly jealousy? I am very afraid of the idea of godly jealousy and zeal. And the line that separates godly and correct jealousy from fanatical religious jealousy is thin as hair. You can't distinguish between the two. A person who enters into a pursuit of religious jealousy can quickly, basically with one step, cross the line and move to religious fanaticism, which is dangerous and harmful to those surrounding him. Let us return to Pinchas' zeal and what happens after the act. Pinchas, son of Eliezer, the son of Aaron, the priest, has turned my anger away from the Israelites, since he was as zealous for my honor among them as I am. I did not put an end to them in my zeal. Therefore, tell him I am making my covenant of peace with him. This covenant of peace is God's response to Pinchas' act. It's actually a demand for the zealot to move over to a heritage of peace and acceptance of those different than him. God is actually saying that maybe your jealous zeal was right for that day and for that hour. And it was right. We should emphasize it. It was right. But God says we must not turn these attributes into the policy of a nation. And in fact, we see here the divine declaration that the world can only be conducted in peace. Please leave a verse in the comments below that you think sums up or adds to the discussion today. Shabbat Shalom.